We're all kind of like Christians enjoying like this harvest festival, and like there's always that one kid who like wore like the bloody mask.
The traditional celebration, the beginning of the harvest.
You can't take something evil and make it good. It's still evil in the sight, eyes of God.
I think every day belongs to the Lord.
Is it appropriate for Christians to celebrate Halloween given its pagan origins? What are your thoughts about that? Well, first of all, let's talk about what Halloween is. I wrote a couple things down. It roots in ancient Celtic festivals. It's a celebration to welcome the harvest at the end of summer. It was thought that spirits were more active at this time, so people wore, costumes to ward off those, the spirits. And so that's kind of like a little bit of background about what it was rooted in. And obviously we know what it is today. Some people go out just to trick or treat. Some people just wear scary costumes, jack-o'-lanterns, stuff like that. Should we celebrate it as Christians? Should we be doing those things as well for Halloween?
I just think about like when I was at church, like I think, when I was like a teenager, I was at church and like we, like they have their little harvest festival thing that the Christians do. And like we would be there, like we're all kind of like Christians enjoying like this harvest festival. And like there's always that one kid who like wore like the bloody mask.
Murder mask, yeah.
Yeah, they show up with a hatchet. You're like,
oh, he's here. All right. Yeah. But no, if I can say this, man, I mean, I really, to be honest, just blur it out, man. I don't think there's really anything wrong with it because we kind of don't lean on those things. Like we don't really follow those customs or believe in those practices. We kind of just do it just because everyone's used to it and it's kind of tradition. I mean, definitely like when you talk about trick-or-treating, that's a great way for a community to get together. Because like even in our American culture, like the community neighbors just don't like talk to each other and stuff like that. So it's a great way for people to do things together. But yeah, Halloween is pagan customs. I'm just thinking like I don't really think it's all that bad. Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, let's jump in. The water's getting warmer.
I have mixed ideas on it. I would say that it would be best if you don't, because okay, I believe that spirits are real, and I believe that
like demons,
ghosts? Angels,
okay,
and in between, right?
Well, what's in between? What?
humans?
Yeah, because I was like
Humans?
Yeah, I mean, souls that were once occupied by human vessels.
I mean, wasn't it Samuel? Was it Samuel who came back up?
Yeah. He
Don't
asked,
talk
"Why did
to
you
the
disturb
dead."
Me?
And another
can
thing
talk
too,
to
the
the
disciples, the Bible says the disciples were scared they saw a ghost. So maybe there was that little belief back in the day. Yeah.
Interesting. You're right.
I believe in them. I believe in them. I think it's hard to say when dealing with in the spiritual. It's hard to say anything factually, but I believe in them. I have a lot of evidence that I've heard, seen, anecdotally or not, that makes me believe in them. So when I think of a pagan holiday, pagan being any, I think we tend to associate paganism to a level of evil, or when I think about paganism, we associate it to something that isn't of God, which is by definition what it is, but that doesn't mean that they're rooted in anything real, right? But when you said the Celtic tradition, and it was believed that it was a specific time or day that the spirits roamed more freely.
They believed.
They believed. Yes, they believed that. I think experiences happen to people that lead them to believe certain things, and just because I wasn't there, I don't want to discount their experiences. So I say that when I think of pagan traditions and the day that is October 31st, and whether that Celtic tradition had any veracity to it or not, I don't know. Now, do I think that there's a specific day in which spirits roam more freely than others? I don't think so. But maybe there was a series of coincidences that led them to believe that, man, when the moon is full in this time of the year, because that's probably the only way they had, calendar wise, they're looking at them, at this time of the moon, when it's full and these things tend to happen. And they created a tradition off of it that was masked, and it probably even became festive, right? And I think that's, if anything, for us, that's what it is now. So I don't want to be long-winded. I just want to say that I think that it's important to not discredit that it is a pagan tradition, but I do want to say that I think it's okay to celebrate and be festive as long as we don't subjugate ourselves and our beliefs to the beliefs of the pagan tradition.
Yeah, I think that's where I was coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not taking part of Halloween to maybe do the same things that they were doing back then, or you don't necessarily have to believe the same things they have to while taking part in Halloween too.
Yeah, and I would say I think the interesting thing is when you look at the traditional celebration, it was the beginning of the harvest, right? That's what they were celebrating. And then they just thought that spirits were wandering around more. And so that's where we get the costumes from. But it was a celebration of the harvest versus
That's the main thing.
nowadays, sometimes people turn it into a celebration of the things that are dark. So I would say that's what we shouldn't participate in, is celebrating and glorifying darkness or wickedness or something that is evil or demonic. I don't think we should do that. But I think it's okay to celebrate, fall, crunchy leaves and
apple cider,
chai tea lattes, pumpkins.
Pumpkin latte.
Pumpkin spice that comes out like August.
But to celebrate those things and then to dress up just because people like dressing up as superheroes or princesses or whatever.
Hey, we hope you're loving the video so far. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It is a huge boost for us, and it helps us reach more people.
Yeah, we want to hear from you too. Drop your questions or thoughts in the comments, and you might just see them featured in our next episode.
Your support means the world to us. Now, let's get back to the video.
The arguments I've heard against it usually come from what I've seen and people I've talked to, Christians who either have done witchcraft or have family members who have done witchcraft. And so to that sphere of people in witchcraft and doing all these things, not everyone obviously, there is the belief that demonic presences and spirits do move.
Their powers are augmented.
Yeah, and that they believe that it's almost the separation between the spiritual and the earthly thins. And so things pass through. So they still believe that. And that can definitely lead to, I would say, almost in a way, they're kind of making it come true. And what I mean by that, not that spirits are coming through necessarily, but I think that there is more demonic activity because witches and people who think that's happening, they're doing sacrifices. They're doing rituals, and they're doing it more so on that day because they think it will have a greater effect. Someone who's been in that environment or has seen that can have a fear or think if we celebrate on the same day as they're doing this, we might be accidentally celebrating the darkness. And they don't want to participate in what the witches are doing. But I think every day belongs to the Lord. And I think that it's not inherently wrong in itself. That day isn't an evil day, right? It's God's. And if we can celebrate fall or the harvest, or we can spread the gospel as churches usually do. They open a trunk or treat. They don't celebrate Halloween, but they just celebrate fall, and they dress up and they give candy. And I've seen churches handing out pamphlets talking about the Bible, and they make they create a safe space to give something good and an alternative for the darkness that can be happening on that day. I think that that might be beneficial. But I can understand why some people would have that fear if they've experienced the darkness of it.
Yeah. I think some people's mind, they're like, well, hey, if you're doing trunk or treat or a fall festival, they think Halloween is inherently evil. So like, you're just taking something evil. You can't take something evil and make it good. It's still evil in the sight, eyes of God. Now you could take something good and make it evil, but you can't take something that's like so they're thinking that. But I don't think Halloween is inherently evil. There's just evil things done at that time that you don't have to be a part of. Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't make the day is not evil itself. There's just evil things people do in that where us as a church don't. Like Pride Month. That's a month you're gonna see pride flags everywhere. Doesn't mean if I, go out and get Christian brothers and sisters together on the same day of Pride Month, we're not celebrating Pride Month with these people. We're having our own thing. Doesn't mean I'm doing the things that they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait, your question was should Christians celebrate Halloween?
No. Is it appropriate? Yeah, basically, should they or should they?
Oh, not sure. Okay, like, is it okay? I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I was gonna say is because I was just thinking like, is it wrong? It's kind of the same thing, but I don't know. I think about Halloween. My question is like to that. It's kind of like, what would a Christian do outside of like Harvest Festival, trunk or treat, that would associate them with Halloween? Because even like in the States here, it's like Halloween's kind of like, there really is no witchcraft to it. So I'm kind of thinking like there's not really much to it. Maybe if you go to a party or something. So I guess what I'm thinking is like, it's okay to celebrate Halloween because there's really nothing we see like back in the day that people do now. I guess like the stigma is like with Christians kind of like making good things. It kind of seems like they associate with like the evil practices back in the day, but really I just don't think there's really anything bad to it because it's like, we're just doing something when everyone else is doing something, Yeah.
So let me ask a question, right? I would say I'll give a list of things that everybody are doing during Halloween, just certain things. And y'all could say yes or no to it. Like, should we do it or not, right? Jack-o'-lanterns.
It's just the
just making a jack
with the light?
Like a pumpkin. I guess
Yeah. That's fine.
I mean, I don't know back like the reasons where that came from.
Well, if I can stop you right,
it appears to be fine.
Yeah. If I can stop you right there,
can I have a demon face?
That might be kind of tricky. You have to be an artist, because like,
do we even know what's
like back in the day? And my dad was good with it. He like literally like he probably like Googled it and like put like he like did the whole thing. But like a demon face, I think it's like that's the normal like face that they normally put. Yeah.
And I call it a demon face, but like what she said.
Yeah.
Do we know what
but
a demon looks
like I wanted to say this. I feel like most people, if not most of everyone, like 95%, don't really understand like the pagan history of Halloween. That's kind of what makes it okay. Because if you actually like, because you ask someone on the street, like, what were they doing back in the day to celebrate Halloween? They'll be like, probably something pagan, but they probably didn't know in depth. They just kind of do it just because we've always been doing that. So that's where it's kind of like even like with Christmas, you think about the pagan traditions, people go back, they're thinking like, well, like, I just know, like, we just do the tree and the candles, and things like that, and the candy canes. But it's like, if you're not really familiar, how can you really be like sinful in that nature?
You're not celebrating for the same reason.
Yeah, you're just kind of doing it just because we've always done it,
Well, so what about wearing scary costumes?
Scary costumes? I mean,
what is scary?
Like dressing up as like a
pirate?
No, a
Because
pirate.
someone could think a pirate is scary.
like a vampire?
Yeah.
Maybe like a...
I think a vampire is fine. I mean,
It kind of depends on like, cause some people like
Edward
really
Cullen.
make it look real, you know. Like if it's like I don't know, like maybe a mummy or like or Frankenstein. Sometimes Frankenstein
that's
it
not-
looks kind of goofy, so that you know it kind of looks like oh ha ha ha, you know. But if it's like legit, and
I think it's for me. I don't mind if like if we had a party and someone showed up as a vampire or a mummy or Frankenstein. It's like, oh, okay.
What about the devil?
That
that's like,
I wouldn't like that
Why?
because that seems like you're celebrating. Like, why are you representing yourself?
Well,
As something
they're
divine.
Hades, the ruler of the underworld.
That's not the devil, though.
Well, is it not?
that's like Greek mythology.
That's Greek
Yeah,
mythology.
It is, but
Technically.
it's still the same
I don't think the devil
idea.
looks
If you
like...
show up as like a Greek
But-
thing, like if you're showing up as a character, like okay, but let's say it's from a horror movie about a man that goes around slaughtering people and
Yeah.
you show up dressed like that. I wouldn't like that because why are you glorifying the harm a person that harms other people for fun?
yeah, yeah.
That's with Halloween where I start going is why are you glorifying it, you know? And it's different if we were watching like a scary movie or something and you're like, oh, run away. But if you were like, oh, I love that guy,
How about
you sure
Vikings?
shouldn't.
My hero!
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it inspiring. If you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest content.
We love hearing from you. So leave your comments and questions below. Your feedback keeps the conversation going. For more updates and exclusive content, make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms.
As always, thank you for watching.